there, yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my living room once again here in Vancouver, Canada. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Wednesday, July 8th, 2020, and this is video number 61. I snuck in a small intro clip of where me and hubby were on Canada Day. We were over on Vancouver Island, not to be confused with Vancouver the city where I live, which I'll tell you a little bit about in a moment. But we were there and I crept down to the dock, and in my last clip that I uploaded it was titled Happy Canada Day, I was whispering my greeting to all my fellow Canadians and wishing them a happy Canada Day. But unfortunately, I don't have the editing equipment on hand when I'm over on the island. I just have my phone to pump up the volume a bit. And I was very conscientious about the volume that I was using in my speaking voice, because people were still sleeping during the course of the morning and I didn't want to disturb them. So I do apologize, you can't hear me very well in the previous video, but the greeting and intention was there. And so yeah, when we went to Vancouver Island, we were a little bit anxious about what to expect traveling there. So as people might be watching this later down the way, right now the world is going through their pandemic with the COVID-19 virus, and traveling from A to B has had very, very strict restrictions, and they're slowly elevating, I guess, the level of restrictions to allow the greater public to now move around in the province of BC. And so when hubby and I were looking to go over to the island, we were a little anxious about like what's kind of policy and how people would, be adhering to the rules, how that would all go down. So when we did board the BC ferries, which is the transporter between the mainland where I am and the Vancouver Island, we didn't know what to expect. But I'm happy to report that they were very, very great with the guidelines and how we should be traveling amongst, I guess, in a large ferry capacity. And they advised people to stay as much as possible in their vehicles, but to wear masks when they travel around the vehicle, of the vessel, I should say. And so everyone was very respectful to the rules. So me and hubby are thinking we might do it a few more times while he's on break and works slow for me. So we might continue to do small trips over to Vancouver Island. So yeah, very, very happy with that. And I'd love to share some of throughout this podcast, some finds that I found over on Vancouver Island. So I found a great gem of a yarn store over in a place called Courtney, tucked away in a little arcade. You wouldn't even know that it was there. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a shout out as well and show what I purchased to support the local yarn store. If you're happening to just drop in on this channel for the very first time, I just want to say a big welcome and hi. My name is Gary and I'm the host of Urban Yarn, and I've set up this channel to talk about all things yarn related. So that's crochet, knit, my acquisitions, I do some comparisons, I love everything yarny. So I'm always evolving, so I dabble a little bit in yarn dyeing as well, and who knows where this journey is going to end. I just want to say a big thank you to all the other people who watch this channel, have been for a while as well. You've always helped me out when I get into a pickle, and that happens often, and you give me advice to get me out of, I guess, the dilemmas that I have with either a technique of some type or a pattern that I can't read. So I really, really appreciate that. So thank you very much. So today I have the unboxing, which I've already opened, of my mum's yarn. A few podcasts ago, I did mention a little bit about my mother lives in Australia, and I live in Canada, as I mentioned in the introduction. And she was a little bit disappointed that we won't see each other this Christmas because of the quarantine procedures that are laid out if you are traveling internationally. I think it's 3 weeks in Australia that you have to quarantine, and we just can't fit that in our life right now. So she wanted to really celebrate me turning 50 in March and also Christmas. So she said, can I send you some yarn? And I told her it wasn't necessary because I have a lot of yarn. But she really wanted to, and I said to her, okay, well, make sure that you don't spend a lot of money because the shipping is ridiculously expensive. And yeah, and just go into a local big box store and buy me something that, you know, you touch and feel and you think is soft. And she asked me what color, and I said, well, I don't have much blue, so maybe some blues. And Mum doesn't really know much in the way of terminology to interact with, I guess, the store, I guess, department of the yarn people there that would give her advice. So she wasn't very confident with what she was going to pick, but I love what she got. So Mum, you did an amazing job. And I got this box before we went to our little cabin. And funny enough, the box arrived when I was Skyping with my mum, and just close that message. And so she got to see me open it and see my reaction. So I really, really love that. So here it is here, a little bit of a sneak peek, all blues. And some of them are Australian made. Some of them are, actually all of them are made abroad. So they're not from Australia, but they get packaged and labeled as Australian products. So we'll talk about some that I've never seen before and compare some that I have seen before in my store here in Vancouver of Michael's. So here's one that I've never seen before, and it's called Shorn Sheep, and this collection is called Flowerdale. It looks very similar, and it's very, very soft, to a Bernard Pop or I guess a Karen cake, and it's a worsted for weight, which I just found out from the other labels that they use an English term of weight sizes I'm not familiar with, so they talk 8 ply or 2 ply, and I don't really know what that means. But this is like a worsted that I'm familiar with, and the colorway of these blues is called Blue Sea. It is saying it's packaged in Australia but made in China. It's really, really soft. And in this cake here, you get 150 grams, 262 meters, and it's suggesting a 5.5 set of knitting needles. And it's 100% acrylic, and you can machine wash this, but I did read it earlier that there was a lay flat to dry instruction. No, it says here you can tumble dry. So this one's good for both machine wash and dry. So for those people who live in Australia, I'd love to hear your ideas on, like, if you've used this yarn before and what you think of it. So really, really lovely soft yarn there. And they have on the label here some other colorways that are sold in this collection. The other one that I got from Mum was also Shorn Sheep in Fairy Lights. I got one skein of this, and this one Mum told me was the most expensive. It was $9, and I think Australian and Canadian currency right now are pretty much on par. And this one is, I think the reason why this one was the most expensive was it uses a larger combination of natural fibers, and also has the sequences in them. So little sequence. So the blend here is, gotta find where it is. There's so much advertising on these labels that it's hard to find what it is that, that the product is. Okay, so 39% acrylic, 35% polyester, 13% mohair, 13% wool. Oh my God, does that sound like, you know, I don't know, like a crazy amount of like items in one strand of yarn? And it doesn't even mention that there's plastic or whatever other fiber in there to create that those sequence. So yeah, it's what else? How much do I get in this ball of yarn? 100 grams, 224 meters, so 224 meters. It's suggesting to use a 5mm set of knitting needles, and it's in this lovely colorway of blues. It's got a chrome kind of shine to it as well. What colorway is it? Let me see. I don't think it has a name. I think it just has the lot number, which is a 09, and nothing else about that. But when I feel this yarn, I do feel a little bit of the, I guess it's not scratchy, but it's a little bit of a resistance when I rub my hand over it of those plastic sparkly things. And I don't know whether a full garment covering a lot of your skin, like bare skin, would feel nice with all those little plastic bits. But something like a hat, and they're suggesting here a cowl. So I could see that being up against your neck. Yeah, I think that would be fine. But I wouldn't do like a jumper without any undergarments. So this one perhaps maybe undergarments required. So yeah, I didn't give you the made in, which is interesting. This is made in China. This one here is made in China as well, but they say packaged in Australia. The other brand that Mum got me was Panda, which I've never heard of before, but it says here it's a company in Bendigo, Victoria, which is the state that I'm from, Victoria. So Bendigo is the city, and it's called Carnival, and it's an 8-ply, which I don't know what that is. I think it might be a 3-weight, only because the needle size is a 4mm in hook or knitting needles. So it comes in this lovely blue color, which doesn't have a name, but it is a number 10. So the color number is 10, and each skein gives you 100 grams, 271 meters, which is enough. Like all of that together could be combined for a scarf, or maybe some color work in a bib or something of your jumper, or maybe a banding of a large color band around your waist or trunk of a body of a sweater. So that could work, or even sleeves. If you do like a baseball style raglan jumper, you could do the sleeves in this blue color and then maybe have a white breast and back. So that could work as well. I don't know whether I said where this one was made. So it claims that it's packaged and labeled in Bendigo, Victoria, which is the state, but it says here made in India. So that's that. Never seen those yarns before. This one I have, it's Peyton's. So Peyton's is a brand that we get here in North America, but also Australia has this brand. And so this colorway here is light blue, but it doesn't have a colorway name. It's just like number is 2554, and it also is 100% acrylic. I should say that this one was 100% acrylic as well. So we have premium acrylic in this one, and it's saying that it's brought to you by the people at Wangaratta Woolen Mills, which is an Australian place as well. But it's saying it's made in India. And I checked my patent stock as well, which I will showcase a couple of labels from patents here in Canada. But before I do that, I should finish with 100 grams, 274 meters in each spool. It's 8-ply, which I guess is a 3 or a 4 weight as well. And it's suggesting the same needle size as the other one. So 4mm, I believe. Oh, it's 4mm knitting needles and crochet hook. So yeah, it has a sheen on it. I'm not very familiar with patents with a sheen on it. I know patents that has wool in it, and I know a duller version of patents which is a little stiffer than this. This is more like Karen Simply Soft. So that patents that I have in Michael's is called Astra. I think it's called Astra, and it's a little bit more crunchy, like you can actually feel the dye in it, whereas this one is super soft and has a bit of sheen to it. I really like that. So again, this could be the sleeve work of a raglan sweater in a baseball style top, or it could be part of a scarf. Love that, thanks, that's really good, Mum. What I was saying is that patents in Canada uses a different country to, I guess, manufacture their yarn, probably because it's closer and cheaper as a shipping price to Australia, who chooses India, and that probably has the same discounts as being closer for shipping. So there's a little bit of a interest there with, I guess, trade and e-commerce or commerce in general. So yeah, I want to talk now about the amazing little gem that I found when I was over on Vancouver Island. So we drove to a place called Courtenay, which is, I want to say, more north in the island, and I found a company called, or a store called Uptown Yarns. That's their logo. There's their business card details. And Jen was the lady that was in the store. She was frantically preparing all of the Christmas in July packages that people had subscribed to. And I was very curious to see what she was bagging, and I was like asking her about what it was to get involved in her subscription. So unfortunately, she was all sold out of the quantities. I guess she had a number and she filled it pretty quickly. So I'm on her mailing list, and I'd love to show some yarns that I purchased at her store. Now these weren't discounted. These were yarns that I had spent my own money. I'm just mentioning her store because of the experience that I had when I went in there, and also I'm eager to support the small yarn stores out there. I'm finding that the big box stores are having these fantastic deals right now, so I am making good use of those as well. But the little guy sometimes gets forgotten. So I purchased these from Uptown Yarns. Wow, look at those colors. So I am on this kick right now that I love the darker colors and the richer colors, and these ones kind of speak my language on both fronts, because they do have the bright colors and rich colors, but they also have the dark. So these are going to be striping quite dramatically, I feel. I'm not sure, you never really know until you work them up to know for sure what they're going to be doing. but the contrast between the two ends of the skein are quite dramatic. So these pieces are going to be like loud stripes, I think, or pull in a way that's going to look a little camouflagey. And I love that idea. So this is the brand. It's called Color Story Yarns, and it's a hand painted sock yarn. So what is that? That's probably a 2. It's probably a 2 or a 1. It's probably a 1. And because you get like a load of yards in this, and it's called Estelle Yarns. So I guess that's the main umbrella of the company name. And the colorway is called Leaf. It is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon or polyamide, and they're suggesting to use a 3.0 set of knitting needles, and there's no suggestion of a crochet hook, but probably somewhere around the same circumference. It's made in Peru, distributed by in Canada by Estelle. So yeah, love the color. It's amazing and squishy. It is so luscious. I love them so much. They had so many brilliant colorways in this collection. I just didn't know which one to choose. So, and they were all similar. They all had dramatic, bright, and dark, rich tones of color. So, love those ones. They were quite expensive. Each skein did cost me, and I haven't really bought much yarn, so this was my treat to myself, $25.99. So yeah, that was quite a pricey yarn. The other thing that I got from Jen's store, Uptown Yarns, was this cake here, and it's very similar to It's a Wrap, which is I believe Red Heart, and also Etrofil, which I think you can get from Hubby and Yarns, and it's a cotton based kind of color wheel, I guess, of different ombre colorway. And what I liked about this one was that the repeat of the colors were closer together, and it's called Magic Shawl Cotton, and this is also from Estelle. This one came with a pattern, which is mentioned here on the label, and it's a free pattern as well that you can download. If I can remember to put that down in the description box, that will appear in the description box. But I also got the pattern printed out from the store. It came in this wonderful clear plastic bag, and Jen had printed this out and packaged it with the yarn. So a great little like extra bit of I guess customer care and service there. So a little bit about this yarn. The colorway is called Licorice, or if you need the number, it's 903. And what else can I tell you about it? Okay, it's 50% acrylic, 50% cotton. You have to hand wash and lay flat to dry. And where's the meterage? Or the yardage? Okay, 800 meters and 200 grams in the cake. So supposedly that this scarf is made with one. That's what the little tag says here. Free one ball falling leaf shawl pattern online. So one of those makes that. I really liked it. It does look like licorice, doesn't it? So licorice, all sorts. The only thing that I saw in this cake was kind of like a little bit of a fray there. And maybe that's why it came with the pattern. I'm not sure. But love those yarns, and I can't wait to try them. I have to queue up all the ones that I love a lot and have them somehow, I don't know, get to them. I think I have like around 6 months of planning of these project bags that I've stuffed all the yarns that I want to get into, and queued them in some sort of like method in my mind with these bags lined up. So I'm hoping in the next 6 months I can get to these ones as well. A little bit about what I've been doing craft-wise is that I'm blocking a few things right now. They're damp. So in the next episode, I'll talk about my crafting. And so that won't be too long a wait, because I'm thinking about doing the videoing tomorrow. And if I can, I'll have it up before the weekend so that we'll be talking about some of the makes that I've done and showcasing those. So yeah, let's talk about what I've been watching. Yeah, because I've been doing a lot of that, right? Over at the cabin, there's been lots of downtime, and when I've had connections, I've been watching YouTubers out there. So I have been getting online occasionally and catching up with some of my favorite YouTubers out there, and many of which I still need to touch base with and catch up with as well, because I've been watching a lot of people. So I'm going to call out a few here. Rose from Rose Likes Crochet. I am enamored with the amazing program that she has on her podcast right now. It's called Wishes for Wings, and if you haven't seen Rose's program with Wishes for Wings, it's just brilliant. People are donating things to I guess it's violence against women, but violence also against domestic situations, which involve children as well sometimes, as well as men. So and people have been crafting things and sending them in. Now they have specifics. Each month there is always a specific item that they require, so please step over there and just, she's made a playlist where you can actually see all of the amazing crafts that are coming into that segment. And I love to go back and hear about the patterns that people have made their crafts from as well, and read where they get them. So that's great. Thanks, Rose, for doing all of that. The other thing, a new channel that is new to me, but it's been around for a number of years, 4 years I heard, because I watched them today as well, was Sweet Tea No Shade. So I really like the way that they're coming to you with it's unscripted, so you get a lot of what you see with the podcast that I like is this interaction between two people. And so one of the hosts, I believe it's Scott, I'm sorry if I've gotten the names wrong, but he was recapping on how he was coming up with the idea to create a YouTube channel, and I found that very fascinating. So his angle was that he wanted to have the banter between two people, because I guess it's hard to just listen to one talking head without the interaction. So I think that was a big thing, and his husband jumped in and became the bantering secondary person. Well, it's not secondary person, but the second person to the podcast. So I'm really enjoying that, and I just want to say, Crystal from Bag O' Day. Now everyone knows Crystal, I think, but if you don't, she's been at YouTube, I guess, for a number of years, and she has so many tutorials, and she was the first person that got me into crochet. So thanks, Crystal, for that. But I just wanted to shout out that she's doing some yarn dyeing, and I'm loving that she's having so much fun with it. So you'll see her now in her kitchen. Sometimes she's like cooking up a storm with like all these colors and Kool-Aids, and so I think she's branching out into other things now, like natural dyeing she was just talking about. So I want to continue watching that journey. So thank you, Crystal, for posting those videos. I'm looking down here because I've got the list. I don't want to miss anyone. And the other one was a yarn addict with Karen. I'm going to butcher your last name. Sorry, McCagan. And I love the way she starts off all of her podcasts. Hi, I'm a yarn addict. It's awesome. Anyway, so she is someone new to me as well, and I've met her through some of the live chats that I've been visiting with Granny D. So I just wanted to say hi to Karen. And the other one that is new to me is, I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong, is it Nanny or Nanny Crochet Corner with Jeannie? Oh my goodness, I love her accent. I guess she's from a southern state, and she has this wonderful channel where she will talk about her yarn adventures. And I just got another message, close that. And what she's making. So I'm really, really captivated with how she's buying all this yarn and she's putting it together in these wonderful projects. So really, really new to YouTube, I guess, kind of like me, and I'm loving watching her grow. So there are a couple of shout outs there. If I've forgotten someone, I'll catch it in the next episode, because I do have a long list, and we are already approaching, I think it's like 22 minutes, and I will bid thee farewell, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. Bye.